Hi, folks. Nick Talkert here. Pardon me, I look like a mess. With the Historical Fencing Guild, before we get into tonight's program, I need to thank a few folks. First, I need to put a huge thank you to the Independent Creator Directory. That's IndieCD.org, your one-stop shop for the best and the brightest authors, artists, and musicians. Also need to remind you we are made possible by sales of the Simple Sword, the Fighting Axe, and the Simple Spear, all part of our ongoing series of Western martial arts manuals designed to help you go from having never handled the sword to teaching the art to others, as well as my novels and my Big Stunt Robots games. Now, tonight's going to be a little different. Let me see what we got going on. Botrex has correctly joined the chat. I need to make a couple announcements, and we're going to go through. Let me just do this so that my messenger doesn't make any noise. Sorry about that. First off, I want to put a thank you to all my Patreon members. Now, that list is going to be changing at the bottom, and it means there will be a delay in some of my plans economically. But that's okay, because right now I'm going to do the names. Off in the Woods, Frog G, Ronald Riehn, Bladed Thesis, Brian K. Morris, Cindy Koepp, Steve Agosto, Don Dulas, Angelina Vaquera-Linke, Joe and Trilaina Bachman, and Richard Asplund, and Kat Rothermel. I know several of you guys have had to cut back or step back from being able to financially support. And I want to let you all know that I understand right now the economy is very tight. And anyone who needs to step back for that purpose is more than welcome to. I hold no animosity towards anyone. I have been trying to give I have been giving free training to people for a quarter of a century. Most of the time, equipping and supporting their gear through either a combination or entirety of my own out-of-pocket spending. I say this not as a chest beat, but as a point of understanding that there is no shame in being too broke to do stuff. Okay. While I would, obviously I'd love to make some money so I can do it better, I don't begrudge anybody doing anything they got to survive in this day and age. Now, I've been saving up my funds. I've been a good little Nick. So I did make a purchase and it came in, and I'm very happy to talk about it. So I'm going to be speaking about something for a moment. And I'm actually, if you can see, I'm actually shaking. I am shaking because I am nervous, because this is the first thing I have bought expressly for myself in a very, very long time. I buy a lot of sword trainers, but I also, most of the sword trainers I review are bought to see if they're going to work for everybody. The vast majority of them get handed out, whatever. Most of my gear gets handed out. But for those of you who've been following, a while back we had, amid the penchant for calamity that I have, we had a flood and some other problems, and that damaged some of my personal gear, and including me going for several months without a functioning fencing mask, which, it was fine because I wasn't holding practices due to physical issues, but it was really troubling to me mentally. So I really had to stop and think about how that made me feel and how, what it was doing to me. And I saved up from the funds you guys are kind enough to donate. And I bought myself, and it finally arrived, a new mask. This is by Leon Mark. Okay, so I may be mispronouncing, but a real name. This is a 3 weapons coaching mask. Now, I did not buy one of the fancy HEMA masks, HEMA branded ones, for a couple reasons. Primarily, the cost. A HEMA branded, not branded, but fully designed, can easily go $250, $300. And I want to say this cost me 89. I got this through the, I'm saying their name wrong. I'm sorry. Give me just a second. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it right because it is a real known brand in Leonark. Go ahead and cancel that. So I'm going to bring that up, get moved over so you can see what I got. Okay. Let me see. Move tab to new window. Move window over here. Because I realized a few things that were my problems with my previous masks. And I have not bought myself a new mask for personal use in about somewhere between, it was way before Xander was born. So yeah, definitely about 20 years. But this is what I got myself. The Leonark. Oh, it is. They now consider it HEMA helmet. That's cool. It is a 350 Newton mask, which is the same rating that I usually get. In fact, overtly, it does not look that much different from the $50 masks that I had been using. And mine actually came in extra large. They don't have any through this order in extra large, which I find amusing. But what's important about this mask is that this mask, and we go, it's very lightweight, the cup. It is no ear holes. So, and I am glad because I have found that the ear holes in the fabric get into my ears and cause problems. I have a size 3 extra large. Now you can see something that I've never been able to do in the entire time of me putting on a fencing mask. Oh, sorry. Get my glasses slid down. These are not the glasses I normally would wear under it, obviously, because these are my close glasses. But it has wiggle room. Every mask I've ever had, my face has been pushing on the mesh directly. It really made for a impactful experience, especially for when I'm dealing with newer people whose calibration is dropped. Now, but the important parts aren't just the outside. You have the overlayer to cover the connection. Because this is a true 3 weapons mask, it is designed to be quite abused comparative to like a normal mask. But the important part is on the inside. As I said, there are no ear holes, but they don't really affect your ability to hear all that much. You don't hear worth a darn. And the padding comes out. Now, most masks that I've purchased, well, the newer masks that I purchased, oops, I'll have to get this. I need to be able to do this, and it's, oh, there we go. This is not just a bib liner. Most of the masks that I've purchased look, frankly, a lot more like this. Okay. There may be some padding here, so I have to shape it a bit for my head. But there isn't any, anything removable. Usually there's a little bit more chin extension. And my face was always inside, usually with my chin, my nose, and my forehead resting in the plate because that's as big as they got. This guy, by itself, is actually far too big. Now, I can ratchet the back down without the liner, which should tell you things. Usually, and I do hope Trilaina gets to see this. I know Trey and Joey are probably watching the other shows, and that's fine. But this is the inner liner. And as you can see, ooh, mask liner and ASMR. Anyway, as you can see, this is actually giving a measure of impact protection. It's going to be a lot better than what I usually have it. I may dig out one of my older damaged masks so that you can see the difference. But this is also going to wick sweat away and help wick it off my face. This is going to make those rising shots not sting as much. And frankly, if this alone doesn't, having a format like this with the interior and very sturdily attached, because the Velcro is, of course, adhered, but it's also riveted through, so I'll put it where you guys can see. This means when I am done fencing, I can whip this off. I can have it actually dry out. This should extend the life of the mask. With this design, my lovely wife, likely, between she and I, we can oops, I don't scratch it up, he said laughingly, make additional padded liners that, should I need it, have more more padding. And this has room to wear a hood under. It should be totally capable to have a like an Aventail, essentially a big hood that goes over. I can do behind the back of the head protection, but I also can keep it removable. This mask is part of my new approach to how I want to do my gear. And I say that because I am looking for the necessities in life that make life better. With a mask like this, I have options. If I bought a HEMA helmet with the back, I could not take the back off for ventilation. Okay. Now, things are fitting a little different because my hair is longer. And when it was shorter, it would curl at impact, giving more padding. But this should be more than adequate for most shots. Now, to answer some of the questions, originally I planned to get a level 2, which I think is 1,000 Newton rated mask. However, I, don't fight anyone whose calibration is that bad. And two, I don't use steel concussive weapons. Okay? So this should give me superior protection. The last 350 Newton rated mask frame lasted me one lasted me 25 years, one lasted, well, okay, hold on. One lasted me 24 years, the other lasted me 23, and only because a mouse nested and chewed into it. And I may be able to gut it and, rehash it, but I'm afraid that the mouse pee had corroded the inside. They didn't put a lot of corrosion protection on these things. So what this means, though, is I'm going to have better ventilation. I will be modifying it. I will be installing, and I haven't quite decided how, but a loop that will go from back here under, around the back, and then probably, what do you call these things? I forget what they're called. It's tangled in my hair. Well, I need to get it out anyway. One moment as I embarrass myself mildly on camera. Okay. These guys. Something like this up the front to make sure it stays seated nicely. There'll be some modifications. Now, as I can, let me just go here and go here. I can purchase an overlay, but more likely I can have Mandy, because Mandy's done a lot of armor sewing and such, make me an overlay. And if I need that for added impact protection or cold resistance. Now, what this means is, for me, I have more variety in what I can do. But I can teach safely with a mask like this. I am essentially back in business. I currently have this one that works and a medium that works that's floating around. Honestly, I don't know. I believe it was donated to me for, I take new students. But there are changes I might make. I may do some adjustment to this back strap. I may, again, loop to better secure it. I have to see. But I can put on an SCA style fencing hood that will add even more padding and keep me nicely insulated. So that means I can get back into it. Now, the concerns. Well, the concerns was impact. One thing about the weapons changes I've made, I found that the rubberized tips of the rapier could, and often did, stick to, so they were very positive on impact, but to the point it made it much easier to concentrate and ding a mask, especially when you're dealing with people with bad calibration. You know who I'm talking about. But with the poly weapons that we're using, polypropylenes, the mask may scratch the blade up. Oh, and Joe comes on. Be sure to sub to the stream to help support the HFG. Thank you, Joe. They don't have that grip on any of the weapons. So even a concussive hit is far more likely to slide off and be deflected. So it's less straight impact. If that becomes something I feel is a problem and I need to upgrade, I can either up armor the mask, or I can save up, get another one, and this becomes my backup. But not having a mask, I found really, really affected me on a level of my identity as a swordmaster, because I can I can make reasonable sword simulating objects out of nearly anything. I've been doing it a long time, but keeping proper facial protection, uh, it's just something you don't want to be making. It's something you need to purchase safely, unless you're going to the extent of actually making a proper helmet, and that's a whole nother ball game, and frankly outside of the scope of my personal experience. I have worn full helmets, I have fought in full helmets, I have not crafted them yet. Now, let me get rid of this real quick. There was something else I wanted to discuss with you guys. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go cooling. The next thing that I will probably be purchasing in one format or another, and it's a little more challenging because they're going to be taking a lot of impact, is something akin to this. These are cooling vests, and there are a couple varieties. I have several saved. The idea being that if I can find a proper, one that will fit, be of a material that will not rupture on impact, I'll be looking into one of these, because with my my health conditions and my side effects of my meds, I am very vulnerable to heat. It is something we've encountered. So I will probably be trying out rigs like this to find one that will help keep me cool, possibly something akin to this large, the one that goes across the back. Want to see how it looks on, that's the back. How does it look on the front? There's not a single image on the front. I don't like that at all. But something akin to that that's a wearable to help me stay cool this summer so I am not overheating. Because what I do is adaptive training. I've been doing it for a very long time. And adaptive training is the process of understanding the needs of the student or the fighter and making changes through technique or equipment to facilitate meeting those needs. That can be as simple as learning how to fence while using a mobility device. It can be having to have a lighter sword, having to have a heavier grip, having to have a molded grip that is better to hold, wrapping a grip. A lot of stuff of what I've had to do is grip based. I'm sorry, going back to some of the adaptations that we've made. Changing the fit of armor, especially when dealing with women, because most of the armoring manuals, most of the historical documents, most of the patterns are geared towards male fighters, and are sized towards male fighters. So that means having to essentially reduce uh, uh, the size of all the components to make smaller armor, either in fabric or more rigid materials. It's all a very constant process for me. Um, and it's one I've been at for a very long time. One of the greatest adaptations we have to deal with is financial. Just understanding how to adapt our gear to be able to be afforded by somebody. Because if money is not the problem, gear is not a problem. I'm not going to lie, but money really is a superpower in some games when it comes to getting equipped and trained. It's just how it is. But if that were my direct focus, I would have a lot less trainers and a lot nicer gear. But we may be doing something about that in the near future as well. As I showed on the guild Patreon list, I did I put an image in a short comment. I did record a video. I need to probably throw that up there. It just, I was rather emotional, and I'm trying not to be overly emotional. For a variety of reasons, not all of them being relevant to this format. But adapting to fit people's needs is something I've had to remember and realize has to apply to me too. So that will be a major overhaul. Now, in other news leading along lines to that, in about a month, we may have some rather interesting technical difficulties because we have been offered a much better internet package, basically, from the competitor out where we are that also runs the fiber optic lines. Now, they don't have fiber optic lines that can come to my house yet, but they do prioritize their array customers over, new potential customers. And a couple of my neighbors are actively looking to pursue better internet as well. So there is a good chance that I will eventually have reliable, truly high-speed fiber internet. Right now, I may be, in the next month, I will be switching, because we already we signed on the dotted line, to and having internet installed for a new company, and that'll be Mainstream Wireless. It doesn't matter to you guys, but they're based out of Fowler. If something goes wrong, I can knock on people's door kind of situations, and hopefully that will greatly improve the reliability of my internet and my ability to run streams without the constant fear and looming presence of constant failures and drops. So there may be a period where things are a little staticky. If things get weird, I will use one of these hotspots during that period. So it should not cause a a stoppage of broadcasts, but it is in the works. So I'm very pleased to have that coming down the line. In the realm of trainers, I had planned a substantial investment in some specific trainers, but I may not be able to do that. We just got hit with an unexpected medical bill and a couple other things. So that will be delayed. If there are trainers you are really interested in, let me know either in the comments or contact me through Patreon. You are more than welcome to join as free members. I do occasional stuff for the free members as well. I need to do more. That's something I want to work on much more in 2026. But as the year progresses, I am hoping to be able to step forward with certain long-term goals. And I will be asking for help with landscaping at this point, with some capital projects, construction-y stuff, getting the list field properly up. I've had to hold off, and I'm still sort of holding off because we're trying to check some things with our septic systems. But I have this spring between 2 and 4 new students. I say that because, things are sliding in some cases. But I want to be able to get swords in their hands and get training as quickly as possible so that they can learn to go from holding a sword to teaching the art to others. That's the big goal. And then I can, point them towards outside organizations where they can get more and different training as their interests are revealed. It's really, really nice to be getting set towards being able to do what I'm supposed to do again. Long-time viewers know I've had to start from the ground up a couple times. You do this as long as I have, things go wrong. And it can be scary. But it's always rewarding. So I'll be, hopefully this spring, reaching out to some friends you guys likely know, folks like Joe and Trilaina, who, assuming we can get a hold of them, I understand that being in construction in their projects, it may be impossible. James Robertson, Steph may be coming back. I would love just to have some longtime friends like Al or Steve show up, but should also be some new people. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, normally I run this show for about an hour, but right now, for whatever reason, my chat's very, very quiet. And while I am incredibly pleased with this mask, I've already spoken about it to the most part. And I don't have a lot else to talk about concerning that set of projects. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to call it for tonight. As soon as I say that, hey, Dave, how are you? you missed me going over. I finally have a new mask. And honestly, I was just about to punch out, but I finally got a new one. Oh, cheers and good night. Thanks, Dave. I will, then, you know what? I will, since it looks like it's quiet, I will see you guys either for Nevermonth Furthermore here or on the Nick Talker channel. And thank you. Thank you. It's a very big deal for me to have a functioning mask. I'm sorry, I am disheveled today. But guys, just keep your guard up, do your drills, be kind to yourself and each other. And as always, thank you for supporting your local sword master. I'll be back next week with more overall. There's been a lot going on behind the scenes, and I think it's taken a bit out of me. So, toodles, folks.